All right, everybody. So there has been some pretty big news in the world of real federal politics. You see, Biden's approval ratings are astronomically low. And for most Americans, it seems that the biggest reason this is the case isn't because of Palestine and Israel. It isn't because of Ukraine. It isn't because of wokeness. It isn't because of anti-wokeness. It's because Biden's old. Biden is older than any other president has ever been in American history. And both Trump and Biden are older than the average lifespan in America. Think about that for a second. While Biden has still done an extraordinary job, everyone close to Biden, including White House health officials, continue to say that his mental health is fine. He is not, going senile or whatever. It has continuously become more and more popular, both mostly fueled by the right, but very well accepted by the left, this idea that Biden is this doddering fool who can't remember anything, and he's barely keeping himself together, despite the fact that he's run this country policy-wise better than any president has, even more better than Obama has in decades. He is doing an astronomically good job, repairing the economy at rates that were thought unthinkable, extremely pro-union, more pro-trans and pro-LGBT than we ever expected him to be. He's just been better on every position than I could ever imagine, I ever expected besides guns. He's very cringe on guns, but for most lefties, that's a good thing that he's so hard on guns. He wants to full-on ban all semi-automatic rifles, Biden does. So, Biden is one of the most radically left-wing candidates we've ever had be president in America. He is actually doing a pretty damn good job, objectively speaking. The results don't lie. The economic growth we've seen under Biden's Bidenomics policies are unprecedented. And yet, the right has successfully quelled any desire to celebrate Biden. And the left is just as on top of it. I had people in my comments just a couple days ago just saying, unsubbing now because of your shilling for Biden. It's like, really? You're unsubbing because I am telling people to not let Trump get elected. The left is absolutely willing to hand the right, Trump, Republicans, the W on this one, because they hate Biden so much. And a lot of them just hate him because he's old. And because they think he's doing a genocide that would end if anyone other than him were president. And they will say, to your face, there is no lesser genocide. They will say to your face, it is equally bad if Trump is elected and millions die, and if Biden's elected and only thousands die. They will say that is equally bad, and you should take no action to go with the less deaths scenario whatsoever. These are people whose answer to the trolley problem is do nothing. And let whoever was going to die, die. Just don't participate. Absolutely astonishing to me. And all the while, the Republicans are absolutely cheering about this because they're doing everything in their power to make sure that Biden continues to have dropping approval ratings no matter how good of a job that he does. It's genuinely astonishing. It's like that meme where you realize that what the average American voter believes politically, and it makes you want to blow your brains out. Like the monkey meme. Was that one stat? I repeated the stat earlier that it's 78% of Americans agree with the statement the U.S. government should spend more tax dollars on helping poor people. And then it drops down to 15% if you call it welfare. The same people say no if you say the government should spend more tax dollars on welfare. Then those same people overwhelmingly say no because the word welfare has been so overwhelmingly demonized in the political sphere. They don't disagree with giving money to poor people and tax dollars doing it. They just don't like welfare. It's welfare they don't like. It's very clear the Republicans are facing little to no pushback on their ability to convince even the left that Biden is worse than he actually is. And it's so shameful. Even Fox News has begun blasting some Republicans for their behavior in trying to sabotage Biden. You see, Republicans and Democrats came together, or I guess a very small group of non-Trump Republicans and the Democrats came together to make a compromise bill. One that would fund millions and millions of dollars to the southern border for securing it from illegal immigration, which is what Republicans want, like more money than has ever been funded to the border ever before for securing it from illegal immigration. It is the dream border funding bill for Republicans, assuming they actually give a shit about securing the border, and they want that win. But it also includes a fair amount of spending towards Ukraine and a decent amount of spending towards Israel, which is also what the Republicans should be in support of. The problem is, while the Republicans are against the Ukraine funding, obviously, because they're pro-Putin, they are obviously in favor of the funding Israel and the funding the border. The problem is, if that bill goes through and Republicans can say, wow, the border's been so well secured, who's president when that happens? Biden. It would mean that Republicans would have to see that under a Biden presidency, the biggest border security funding bill ever was passed. That would not look good. That might actually cause Biden's approval rating to rise a little bit when he's doing good things. They can't allow that. Well, good things in their view, not good things really to me or you guys. So Republicans, Trump Republicans, the majority of the Republican Party, in response, did everything in their power to murder the bill. The Republicans killed the biggest border security funding bill in American history. For good, they killed it. And their reasoning, as many of them admitted, was because, and I quote, they don't want Biden taking credit for a good thing. That's for Trump. Even Fox News is pissed about this. A lot of people are mad about it, those that know about the story. Even Fox News is now calling it out. And that's this story here that I'm going to be reading to you guys. Fox News blasts Republicans for killing, quote, strongest border bill ever. The chief political analyst at Fox News has criticized hardline Republicans for killing a border bill negotiated in the Senate. Quote, I think these are a couple of issues that put Republicans in peril of looking like literally a do-nothing Congress, Brit Hume told the station on Wednesday, referring to the border security bill shot down by the House and the potential rejection of funding for Ukraine. The GOP-led House struck down the $118 billion bill in the Senate on February 7th, with conservative hardliners arguing the legislation does not go far enough in its efforts to end illegal immigration. Here we've got the clip from Republicans Against Trump, clipping the Fox News correspondent that said this. Fox News chief political analyst Brit Hume criticizes Republicans for killing, quote, the strongest border protection bill that I've seen in my time in Washington. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Even Republicans are calling this shit out because it's all being done. They don't care about achieving any actual values in reality. It's all about winning and securing power. And they will sacrifice political wins because they don't want the credit to go to the guy they're going up against. They don't care about making America better. They don't believe these things make America better. If they did, you would think they would want to pass these bills no matter what. Instead, it's all about winning, making sure Biden can't take credit for something their voters will think is good.
The Republicans, in the meantime, however, are in danger of losing the advantage they have vis-a-vis Biden on the issue of the border and on the issue of Ukraine funding, Israel funding, funding to defend...
Man, I always get like a little imposter syndrome about my presentation and how entertaining I am as a political commentator. Like, am I not funny enough? Am I not entertaining enough? Am I not verbose enough? Am I not well-spoken enough? But then I look at any conservative pundit on the right, and 99% of the time, they have like 100,000 times more success than me, and like 100,000 times less talent. And I'm like, okay, never mind. Never mind. I'm fine.
Taiwan, because they are refusing to act on these measures that would deal with that. Also on the issue of rebuilding America's defenses. So I think that that snapshot that those polling numbers you cited represent may be temporary and are likely to be temporary, in fact, and that the Republicans think of what the Republicans are doing. For example, Kevin, on the border issue, they said that they wouldn't pass aid to Ukraine and other places unless there was action on the border. So the Senate produced a bill negotiated by one of its most conservative Republican members.
The sad thing as well is the left's response to Biden doing this has been the worst imaginable. The response from the left has been to attack Biden, to say, this is Biden being weak with the Republicans and giving them what they want. No, it's not. Biden just exposed the Republicans as not giving a fuck about the shit they claim to care about. When the fucking debates happen, when Biden is running ads and the election is happening, Biden can say, these Republicans destroyed the strongest border funding bill ever that would have kept actual legal immigration out of this country. Biden outed the Republicans in power right now as not giving a fuck about the issues they campaign on. Hell, the pro-gun Republicans are already pissed off at current Republicans. A lot of pro-gun, like right-wingers online right now, do not like that the majority of the Republican establishment isn't really doing anything about guns. The Democrats are passing gun bans all across the country, and Republicans aren't doing shit in response. There are very little gun rights being restored across the country, despite large amounts of Republican electoral power being held. And so, pro-gun people are just sitting there waiting. That's a big wedge issue in America. Immigration is a big wedge issue in America. Abortion is a big wedge issue in America. When the Democrats have the W on all three of these things, or at the very least the Republicans can't take the W on all three of these things, that's a big goddamn deal. People need to stop attacking Biden on this, seeing him as weak because he, quote-unquote, compromised with the Republicans, and see this as what it is. Biden played Washington politics exactly as you're supposed to, and was still able to reveal to everybody the Republicans don't believe a fucking thing they claim to care about.
On the border, which had some defects in it, as compromise measures always do, and it was nonetheless the strongest border protection bill that I've seen in my time in Washington, and the House.
It's so sad to see something Biden's done, that the Democrats have done, that has resulted in so much infighting and schisming within the right and within the Republican Party, get so much hate from the left. For the left to see it and be like, you can't do that, that's bad, I'm criticizing you for that, when it was one of the most effective winning strategies the Democrats have actually employed in Washington politics in a long time. Saying, okay, here's what you want, but it comes with what we want too, that you claim to not really be against, so vote on it. And now we have forever, we have that image. Where is it? Border funding bill results. Seeing conservative Twitter accounts fucking cope and try to explain this away when you post it in their replies when they complain about immigration is so fun. Look at this. $1.7 trillion border spending bill. On motion to concur the... Democrat votes yes. 214. Republican votes yes. 9 Republicans voted yes. 1 Democrat voted no on the bill. 199 Republicans voted no. On the biggest border security funding bill in U.S. history. This was a massive dick-swinging move by Biden and the Democrats.
Simply announced it was not going to take it up, so it failed even in the Senate. Then comes this question of the measures for the funding of Ukraine and elsewhere, and that looks like it's going to go down in the House as well, even though it passed the Senate. So I think these are a couple of issues that put Republicans in peril of looking like literally a do-nothing Congress, which is something you can bet the
they're
Biden
a do-nothing
administration
Congress.
is going to be talking about going forward.
And their strategy is to remain a do-nothing Congress until the end of Biden's term, because if they do anything good, They are terrified that Biden will be able to take credit for it. Biden's extremely low approval ratings, despite his very good performance, is the biggest godsend for Trump and the Republican Party imaginable. Young voters having low voter turnout and not wanting to vote for Biden is the biggest godsend for the Republicans and Trump imaginable. It is the biggest, like, there's still a chance for Project 2025 that there is. It's the only chance that Project 2025 has, is them maintaining this lefty, young people, I don't want to vote for Biden, I don't want to vote at all for either of these senile candidates mentality that will guarantee Trump gets elected, that will guarantee low Democrat voter turnout, because those are the only people. It's Democrats are the only people that feel that way. The Trump supporters, they're coming out. They're coming out big time. It's so blatant as well. Romney criticizes... Romney called this out. Let me see if I can find the clip. I think this is the right clip, yeah.
It was hard for me to see what Leader
Wait, please. These sites really need to learn how to do UI. You do not need to make it so that the pause button and the progress bar disappear when you pause the video, or the volume button for that matter. That is bad UI. That's very bad UI. You should make it so all those things are still available when you pause. You don't need to make those things go away when you pause the video. Watch how bad this UI is, chat.
McConnell was. It was hard for me to see what Leader McConnell was suggesting. He seemed to be of two minds in the conversation. But reading the reports this morning...
This is Romney criticizing Trump because Trump said he wants to kill the border bill so he can, quote, blame Biden. That's right, guys. Biden was able to get Trump to admit he wants Republicans to vote no on this bill so he can blame Biden on it failing. And you've got Republicans like Romney who are evil, but at the very least somewhat, they're not Trump Republicans, criticizing it. That's what he's criticizing here.
And the fact that he hasn't corrected them suggests that he is inclined to listen to what former President Trump wants. And former President Trump has indicated to senators that he does not want us to solve the problem at the border. He wants to lay the blame for the border at Biden. And the idea that someone running for president would say, please hurt the country so I can blame my opponent and help my politics is a shocking development. I think the border is a very important issue for Donald Trump. And the fact that he would communicate to Republican senators and congresspeople that he doesn't want us to solve the border problem because he wants to blame Biden for it is really appalling. But the reality is that we have a crisis at the border. The American people are suffering as a result of what's happening at the.
Obviously, this is all bullshit, but like this is Republican anti-Trump fuel. The Republican voters actually care about the issue of immigration. Some politicians within the Republican Party actually care about it, like Romney, and are racist enough to care about immigration. To others, it's just a means to an end. They want to weaponize the racist Republican vote to maintain power. And people like Trump and those other Republicans that voted no at his beck and call have all outed themselves as only caring about winning, not about the things, the policies that their voters care about. They all just want to make sure they're completely fine hurting the country to get Trump in office, and other Republicans are calling it out. Meanwhile, this move is being called weak by leftists because it's not Biden, like, I don't know, saying my way or the highway to Republicans. No. He pretended to give them exactly what they wanted, knowing they wouldn't take it. Knowing they wouldn't take what they wanted, because what they really want is Trump to be president, and they will not allow anything that Republican voters would see as good to happen under his policy, meaning anything we see as bad under his presidency, sorry.
The border, and someone running for president ought to try and get the problem solved, as opposed to saying, hey, save that problem, don't solve it, let me take credit for solving it later.
Yeah. It's very shameless. And the fact that the left is not applauding Biden for the fact that he has actually done something that has caused an unprecedented schism within the Republican Party is so sad. Like, I've seen even non-Bernie or bust lefties kind of playing into like the hardcore Biden hate. Like even Vosh. Even Vosh, I think, has gotten a little bit Biden derangement syndrome-y. I've seen a couple. Granted, I didn't watch the videos. I just saw the thumbnails and the titles in my recommended. But they were like shitting on Biden for being old, shitting on Biden for his handling of Israel. And as much as I'd like to agree, when the alternative is Trump, who has outright said that he will glass Hamas off the face of the earth if he gets elected, it's like, I get criticizing Biden's handling of Israel, but Trump will literally say, hey, Netanyahu, you should glass all of Palestine. Why haven't you done that yet? On day one, you know? I mean, Trump has shown more senile tendencies than Biden ever has as far as age. Biden has full, clean bills of health from every White House medical figure. All of his doctors have given him a clean bill of health. I mean, you can make the argument there's a conspiracy to claim he's healthy when he's not, but like, there's no evidence his health is failing. There's no evidence his mind is failing. If you think that him forgetting things sometimes is evidence that his mind is failing him, then like, really? You guys, like, you never forget anything. You watch my stream and see me forget shit and gaff and think, like, you don't say that's my brain failing because of dementia or because I'm an old man. People forget shit. Once you're old, people start saying, oh, you forget things because you're old. But everyone forgets things all the fucking time. Hell, the older you get, it's easier to forget things just because there's more stuff to remember. Even outside of just the brain degrading with age. So, like, yeah, if you're, like, in your 70s or your 80s and you did a thing in your 50s, you might not remember the exact date that it happened. That doesn't mean you're having dementia. It means you've lived it long enough that things happened decades ago that you're expected to recall detail by detail as if you had a fact sheet in front of you. Exactly, Zan. Joe Biden could have done some things better, absolutely. But yeah, Trump would just encourage Netanyahu to go for the complete destruction of all of Palestine. Yeah, Trump would like try to get Netanyahu to glass all of Hamas, which Hamas uses civilians as human shields. So like, you know how that would go. Yeah. It's so sad. Like, Biden derangement syndrome among the left especially is real. It's so sad. He has such low approval ratings, like record low approval ratings, despite, I mean, hell. Let's look at his economy. In the first 11 months, this is the first 11 months. Let's look at a more recent thing. Biden goes into 2024 with the economy getting stronger, but voters feel horrible about it. That's what the headlines have been for like the last few months. Like, basically experts poring over data, like trying to question, why is Biden's approval rating so low when we're seeing unprecedented record economic growth because of his policy? And it's like beyond depressing. Stuff like this makes me depressed. Yeah, it's like, what can you do? He's doing such a good job. The results like speak for themselves with the numbers, and like, no matter how good he does, his approval ratings are dropping because young lefty voters are like, he's old. I'd rather Trump be president than put my vote behind that old bastard genocider. It's like, okay, well, now every Palestinian gets to die if Trump gets elected.